Porque usted
Stop. You can't lock me inside. You cannot lock me inside! Get out of my way! Today's video is one that honestly makes my blood boil with frustration. I wish the video ended there and that it was nothing more than a distant, horrible memory, but as of a week ago, things have progressed and we have just learned that that video, that little incident, may lead to a potential lawsuit that 𝗏𝗧 and I are going to be facing. This is a story of a man who is so deep into his lie that he's willing to drag his entire community's reputation down with him. Now, I wanted this video to remain specific to that one individual, but as of late, it seems like the entire community has bought into his lie, knowingly or unknowingly, and with that, they have become involved in this whole situation. They are now backing this individual's lies and willing to slander 𝗏𝗧 and I's names in doing so. Now, if you've been watching me for anything more than a single video, you'll know this is the exact opposite style of videos that I typically do. I'm not a drama channel. I'm a channel that focuses on positive travel experiences, that loves sharing the best of the world. But today's video is not that video. Today's video is focused on one of the most negative experiences of my life, and by far the most negative travel experience I've ever encountered. End of August 2019, my girlfriend 𝗏𝗧 and I were off to enjoy an incredible trip, or at least what was supposed to be, to a mysterious island by the name of Easter Island. If you don't already know, it's the island that's most characterized by these guys right here. Those are the 𝗦𝗨𝗕𝗦𝗖𝗥𝗓𝗕𝗙, these incredible statue figures that you'll find all along the island. Now, Easter Island is actually one of the most remote islands in the entire world, being thousands and thousands of kilometers off the coastline from the mainland, and with that, it's actually part of Chile. Now, our story begins August 7th. We woke up for an incredible sunrise at one of the best national parks on the island by the name of Tongariki, and this is a place where you have 15 𝗦𝗨𝗕𝗦𝗖𝗥𝗓𝗏 all lined along this one incredible stone, which is called an 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. It's key for you guys to know the name of it. It was such an incredible sight, and we thought that our trip had just started on the best foot possible. That was until we heard a few set of whistles. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 was filming some video with her phone, with her camera, and she was right at the barrier, basically a set of little tiny rocks all lined up, basically telling tourists not to come any further. It's not the most official way to create a divider, but it's definitely a good way in my opinion, because it keeps the park clean and it helps preserve that historical feeling. And so with that said, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 did place one of her feet on the very top of one of those tiny little cantaloupe-sized rocks. The first barrier is probably a good 20 to 30 meters away from the actual statues. So we are talking about a massive, massive clearance. At this point, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 places her foot on a rock, and from there we hear a whistle. I'm kind of confused at this point because I know for a fact I'm not doing anything wrong. I look at 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, she's not doing anything wrong. All this transpires very quickly. I realize this is about us. He comes sprinting down the field with a massive, massive angry face. Like, you could see it from 100 meters away that this guy was not coming to give us a kind warning. He was blowing his whistle, running with excitement, power tripping, ready to have a little excitement in his day. And finally, when he got across the field, because it was quite a distance, he came up to 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and he had a few words to share, which, mind you, I don't speak Spanish. He was speaking in Spanish with 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, but 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 has told me that essentially he started off in a very, very confrontational manner of, what are you doing? Do you not see the line? Do you not see the line? 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 then responds, yes, I see the line, and I'm not passing the line. And then from there, he's like, let me see your camera. He looks at her camera, there's nothing on there. He looks at my camera, because at this point, I've come up to see what's going on. I can tell it's very aggressive, and I don't feel very comfortable with this man being close to my girlfriend. He then asks to see my camera, I suppose in the same hopes that there's going to be some sort of contradicting information showing that she had crossed the line. And then to that point, he realizes there's nothing on his side. There's no photo because the truth is the truth. Things escalate very quickly. He starts off by dropping a giant insult to 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, calling her an idiot. Telling her she's an idiot for crossing the line, for not knowing where the line is, and all of a sudden, things are getting heated. If you're wondering why 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's not here filming this with me, it's because it's been so emotionally exhausting on the both of us. She's already done a full video on her channel, which you can watch. It's gonna be linked down below. It's in Spanish though, but it's just not something she wanted to go through again, so I hope you can respect that. Now, one of the main reasons I wanted to make this video was to share something that I believe I did right that day, and I really hope you remember this if you ever have the displeasure of encountering a conflict, a something not going to plan, film with your phone, because nothing holds up better evidence than an unbiased camera that's able to show things for how they are, record the audio, and nothing can be altered. It is the reason that I'm not being questioned by Chilean police, the reason I have all of the evidence and the truth on my side, and the reason why Felipe's lies will never quite add up. Now there's many lies he's been creating as of lately, and some of them are extremely serious, including the claim that I physically attacked him. I don't see what evidence in the world they could ever take against us because I have the truth and I have an unaltered video. And unfortunately that video goes a little something like this.
Okay guys, so I want to film this right here because it's important that we have evidence. We were taking photos here as everyone does, and he's freaking out, calling us an idiot.
Señorita, le estoy pidiendo su ticket. Sí, lo necesito ahora, acá. Para ver su ticket y timbrárselo.
Ya te lo mostramos.
Muéstremelo.
I showed you the ticket, sir. I already showed it to you.
Tiene que darme el ticket, señor.
Can you speak in English, please? I don't
Yes.
speak Spanish.
I need your ticket.
How come?
How come?
We
Yes.
just say you need
Because
to see
you was out of the limit.
Sir,
You was
I-
in the letter. Look at it.
she stepped
Estaba en la
on the rock with
señal,
one
Mr.
Y
foot. I'll
necesito
admit
su
that.
ticket. Y usted está desacatando una norma del guardaparque.
He doesn't
Necesito
speak
ver su
Spanish.
ticket.
I don't speak Spanish, sir.
I
So
need to see your ticket.
I will tell you
because
this.
I'm the range of here. I
Yes.
need your
Show
ticket.
I showed you the ticket.
I need your ticket.
But I don't
right
trust
now.
you. I think you're
I
going to
need
rip
your
it up.
ticket.
I think you're
I
going to
need
take
your
it away
ticket
from
right
me.
now.
¿Lo quieres romper?
No.
I'm not giving it to
Yo no lo
you.
voy a romper.
Entonces, ¿qué
Y
quieres
si
hacer?
quiere, grábelo.
I'm not giving it to you.
Necesito tu ticket.
You're being unreasonable, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
We
I
didn't,
need your ticket.
we didn't go past the barrier.
No, I need your ticket
We
right
didn't
now.
go past the barrier.
I need your ticket right now.
I'm not giving it to you.
¿Cómo
I
te
need your
llamas?
ticket.
I'm sorry, sir, but I'm not giving it
¿Cómo
to
te
you.
llamas?
I need your ticket.
I'm not giving it to you.
Señor.
Sorry,
¿Cómo te
sir.
llamas?
I need your ticket.
You're not getting my ticket. Please don't touch
I
me.
need.
Don't physically touch me. I'm
I
filming
need
all
your
of
ticket.
this. You're not
I
getting
need your
it.
ticket.
I just
I
told you.
need your ticket.
I'm not
I
giving
need
it.
your ticket.
Yo te estoy hablando.
Necesito su ticket.
No,
Le estoy hablando lo mismo.
Señor.
You're not physically going to touch me, so please step out of my way, sir.
Estoy pidiendo el ticket.
Sir, don't touch me.
Necesito tu ticket.
This is going to go straight to your
Necesito tu
office.
ticket.
Señor.
I think it's very important to make it clear. We did not cross the barrier.
This is very important. The people come here, respect all the
We
rules
do
of the park.
respect all the
And
rules.
all the rules.
We
all
respect the rules.
The letter
Está
says,
gritando.
don't into the line.
Señor.
And you into the line.
Señor, se está
And you
llevando
into the
un
line.
momento
I
muy
need,
embarazoso.
I need your ticket.
You're
Señor.
not getting my ticket,
Yeah,
sir.
I
I'm
need your
leaving
ticket.
right now.
And don't touch me.
I didn't touch you. Are you kidding me?
So I think this is a good time to say, why didn't we give him the tickets? It seems like a rather reasonable thing for him to ask to see our tickets. You know, maybe we jumped the gate, maybe we didn't belong in the park, who knows? Now the reason that I never wanted to give this man the ticket was because from the very start, he came in with the predisposition to try and punish, to try and be aggressive, to try and basically tell us that we had done something that we had never done. From the moment we met this man, there was no trust and there was no respect, especially when he began to call my girlfriend an idiot. With that being said, I did show Felipe the tickets from the very start. I wanted him to know that yes, we had purchased access, we had been stamped on the way in. I gave him every single bit of evidence that he could have needed, and yet he wasn't satisfied. So at this point, when I showed him the tickets, he saw the stamp, he saw that we were officially let in. There was only one explanation left. It's that he either wanted to rip up the tickets or basically ban us from the rest of the parks. And just to let you guys know, these tickets are not affordable. They're like $70 to $100 each, and with that, they're access to all of the parks. And this was our first day in the park, and we were in our very first stop of the day. And after flying across the ocean and paying hundreds and thousands of dollars to come visit this place, I was not about to let a man that's having a bad day try to ruin our entire trip. If I had gone past the line, if I had pushed the limits, if I had disrespected the rules of the park, yes, hold me accountable, hold 𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗘 accountable. But that had not been done. Even when he saw the footage, even when he saw photos, he had nothing to show that we had broken the rules because we never had, and the truth always prevails.
Don't touch me.
I didn't touch you. Are you kidding me? I'm going over the barrier, sir. Don't touch me. I will push back if you try to visit me.
Now this moment right here where I almost got thrown off a wall, it's a little bit hard to see what actually happened because everything's happening from one tiny little camera being held at the arm's length. So with that said, very luckily, 𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏 also captured from another perspective with her camera showing the intent to throw me off the wall. Felipe knew that we were up on a rock wall about 3.5, 4 feet tall, and yet he still tried to aggressively and violently take me off this wall. He was willing to hold me in this park at all costs and completely disregarded any safety. Can you imagine if I had stumbled, if I had tripped? I could have hit my head on the rock. There's so many things here that could have gone so horribly wrong, but I would argue that Felipe didn't care. Felipe was looking for this little power, this little authority in his life, and when I wasn't willing to give it to him, he was ready to push back.
Over the barrier, sir. Don't touch me. I will push back if you try to physically get me. Then why did you shut the gate? Don't touch me.
Dame tu ticket.
Kathy, hold the camera.
Dame tu ticket ahora.
This could get physical. Don't touch me.
Dame tu ticket ahora.
This guy looks like he's about to
Necesito
punch me,
ver tu
and I'm
ticket.
not afraid to push
Necesito ver
back.
tu ticket.
Back off.
Necesito ver tu ticket.
You're not getting my ticket.
Necesito ver tu ticket.
Yeah, he's saying I need to see. Let's show him.
I will show you the ticket.
Necesito tenerlo acá.
Ah,
tu
no,
ticket.
dijiste 1,000,000 de veces ver.
No, necesito el ticket ahora.
I'll show it to you.
Sí, necesito tu ticket ahora.
You're not gonna
I
hold
need
it.
your ticket right now.
I'm not giving it to you.
Look, if he breaks
2
it,
tickets.
I need.
2 tickets. Off, dude. Kathy, cross the barrier. I'll go over there.
no,
I need your ticket.
I am not getting in trouble by this guy. He doesn't know what he's doing. You're crazy, man.
You are crazy. I need your
I'm
ticket.
not giving you my
I
ticket.
need your ticket, please.
Kathy, open the barrier and walk out. There's no don't do a live stream. That's stupid. We have all the footage we need. This
I need your ticket.
¿Para qué quieres ver el ticket?
Porque usted
You can't lock me inside. You cannot lock me inside. Get out of my way.
I need to see your ticket.
Kathy, get out of here.
I won't.
Don't
I
listen.
need to see your ticket.
Get off.
I need your ticket.
Get off of
I
me.
need your ticket.
You're not getting my
I need
ticket.
your ticket.
Kathy, leave, would you?
I need your ticket.
He can't hold us
I
in here.
need your ticket because you was wrong the rule.
Leave, Kathy.
Cuidado. Necesito tu ticket.
Kathy, leave.
Mira lo que estás haciendo. Mira lo que estás haciendo. Mira lo que estás haciendo.
Get out of my
Mira lo que
face.
estás haciendo.
Me vas a golpear la cara, me vas a golpear la cara.
Don't touch me.
Necesito ver tu ticket.
Kathy, get to the car.
Necesito ver tu ticket.
Leave because he's gonna keep my face.
Necesito que me des tu
Listen to
ticket.
me right now. Go to the
No te
car.
voy a romper el ticket. Necesito verlo.
Pero ¿para qué quieres el
Porque
ticket?
necesito tenerlo.
¿Para qué?
Para.
What are you gonna fucking do,
I
dude?
need your ticket.
Get off of me. Get the off
Don't
me.
touch me. I need to see your ticket. Did you jump? I need to see
Get
your
the
ticket.
away
Right
from
now.
me, dude.
Right now.
You leave me alone.
I need to see your
You
ticket.
psychopath.
I need to see your ticket.
I hope you guys are recording this.
I need to see your ticket.
Get away from me.
Your car there?
That's my car.
Okay. I will take the number. Don't worry. And please show the video.
I will.
Don't delete.
I won't
Right?
delete the video.
Right?
All right. Have a great day.
So right now, I need your ticket.
You're not getting my ticket, man.
I need the ticket, sir.
Please relax.
Sir, I need the ticket.
From the very start, sir, I've
Sir,
been so
and-
patient,
Sir.
trying to explain to you, we
Sir,
did not cross the
sir,
barrier.
sir.
You were
I
200.
leave you the ticket.
You were
I
200,
leave you
300
the ticket.
meters away.
I need the ticket.
You can't see
I
as well
need
as
the
you think you
ticket.
did. We
I
didn't
need the
cross the
ticket.
barrier.
You insulted
I need
me,
the
you
ticket.
accused us for having a picture that didn't
Because
exist.
you
We
jumped the
don't
That
have-
we
beer
don't
car.
have a picture.
didn't cross
You
it.
said,
Jump
show
the
me the
beer
picture.
car.
And when
We
you saw we
didn't
didn't
cross
have a
it.
Sorry,
picture, you got really mad.
Get away.
I need your ticket.
Are you guys seeing this?
Oh,
It's ridiculous.
Did you get in the car? You're very
I need your
aggressive.
ticket.
You're not getting my ticket. Nothing. What? We didn't do anything wrong.
¿Estuviste bien?
You're being so.
No, 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 no. Ustedes la pegaron cuando saltaron la pista.
¿Saltamos?
Saltaron la pista, sí, saltaron.
Kathy, get in the car.
Okay, I need your ticket.
I'm sorry, sir. Have a great day. I'm gonna send this to you.
Sorry, sir, I need
I'm
your
gonna bring.
ticket.
You don't
I
have.
need your ticket.
I'm gonna
need
bring
your
this
ticket.
straight to the
I need
tourism
your
office. I'm gonna bring it straight to the tourism office. So you may think that you've done yourself a
Y
good
grabé
job.
cuando
But
me llamaste idiota, así que
Qué bueno.
nada te va a
Y
hacer.
saco la foto cuando estaba fuera del límite. Y
Sí,
We didn't
y
cross
grabamos
the
también cuando
limit.
saltó la
tenemos
pista.
toda la memoria y no tengo absolutamente nada cruzando eso ni
No
saltando
tienen
como
la
dijo
memoria,
usted.
no tienen ni siquiera el valor
Mire
para
señor,
pasarme su
mire
ticket.
señor,
Don't
mire señor,
let
que no
him
me ha dicho su
anywhere near
nombre.
Yo le estoy
Don't
pidiendo.
let him
Mire,
anywhere
señor.
near that.
Yo le
Ay,
estoy
no.
pidiendo su ticket.
Mire señor, ¿dónde está?
No, pues si removió la tarjeta. Cuando
Caramba, señor, está en esta cámara. Cambiemos de cámara. Tenemos dos
Él guardó la
cámaras.
tarjeta de memoria.
Señor, aquí está. Aquí está.
Keep recording him.
Bueno, él se resistió a que yo le pidiera el ticket.
Usted me insultó y me llamó idiota. No, no. Me dijo que le muestre.
Están arrancando.
¿Ladrones?
Sí, sí.
¿Ladrones? ¿Hemos robado algo?
Sí.
¿Qué hemos robado?
Se están robando.
¿Qué hemos robado?
Están
¿Qué hemos
como los
robado?
ladrones saltando
¿Qué
la
hemos
tinta.
robado? ¿Qué hemos robado?
Los ladrones
Porque
saltando
intentó
las
cerrarme
murallas
la puerta en la cara y casi me golpea con un fierro en la
Necesita
cara.
su ticket.
Tenemos testigos.
Now the video ends there. I wish 𝗏𝗕𝗙𝗘 had kept recording, but unfortunately that's where it ended. You can hear the door click with the lock. I basically from there drove off into the west side of the island. There's only two ways you can go. There's only one road on this island, so you're either going west or you're going east. As I peeled off going west, I saw 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏 running back as fast as he could to his outpost, clearly to call in either some other park rangers or even worse, maybe his friends. I had no idea what was going to happen, but I knew that if I followed that road, they would know exactly where I was. So the moment I saw him leave my eyesight, I quickly did a U-turn, I ripped the car back around, and I started driving east. Now, I'm not sure what would have happened if we continued going west. I have my theories, but I'm very glad that I did that little maneuver last minute. We were able to get back to our Airbnb, back to our rental property, completely unbothered, unstopped, but I can tell you our hearts were pounding. We were pretty scared that we were going to get stopped by people who are not so official, just like this gentleman Felipe. We figured that this case would probably not be dealt with properly and peacefully, but we had our theories of what could have happened if we were stopped by the wrong person. And so luckily we got back to our property. We did as most people would probably want to do. We went into our bed and we watched TV. We wanted nothing more than to escape this island. We did not want to be there anymore, and we were having one of our worst days ever in travel, and things had only just started. We spent probably 2.5, 3 hours just watching Friends, watching things on Netflix, and trying to come to terms with what had just happened. We realized that we had spent all this money to come to this island, and at the end of the day, we can't let one person ruin our entire experience. So even though we completely felt like just staying in our room, we got back in the rental car and went on to the next national park, one by the name of 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. We got to this national park, they let us in, and we actually did feel a little bit of hesitation as they let us in, but we got through, and so we figured, okay, I guess things are okay. We figured that maybe he had made a huge mistake and realized it and therefore never reported it, or maybe they just didn't recognize us. Either way, we entered into the park, spent about an hour there, and on our way out, this is when we got stopped. A lady working the exit desk, or the entrance desk, it's the same, basically asked to see my ticket. She said she had to do something, didn't explain what it was, so immediately I was like, okay, I figure we're probably gonna be stopped at this point. So we wait about 5 minutes. She's still doing her checking of something. At this point, I'm like, okay, for sure somebody's on their way and we're just being held here. So I go and ask the lady, like, look, what's going on? Can I have the ticket back? At this point, I'm starting to feel a little bit worried for my safety and I wanna get out of here. So I ask for my ticket back and she basically says, were you at Tongariki this morning? So at this point, it's obvious. They know exactly who we are, and they have a very, very unique side of the story of what happened. We wait another couple minutes, another very angry looking park ranger man comes up and talks to us. Well, I should say 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 friend in the hospital. So at this point, we're totally thrown back. We knew we were confronted, we knew we were totally abused that morning by a park ranger, but never in our lives did we expect that it would try to be turned on us. Felipe had clearly made a claim that we had attacked him, and so severely so that he was now in hospital. It was full on a criminal claim. So with surprising reasonableness, they actually told us just to go to the park tourism office, the administration office I should say. And I was kind of surprised. We weren't escorted there, we weren't followed, but then it kind of got me wondering, what if they're like going to have somebody intercept us and take care of things, you know, aside from the administration? That didn't come out to be the case. Very thankful for that. We safely arrived at the administration office. We met with a guy by the name of Claudio, who we thought was our friend. And this is where the story is just so unbelievable. We'll get there. Claudio saw the video and he was ashamed, he was humiliated, and he was so scared for the sake of the administration. He was watching the video like this, constantly taking deep breaths, constantly saying, oh no, no. Like he was terrified. And I was wondering why he took it so strongly. Like I really felt appreciative that he cared. I felt like this may be somebody that actually wants the best for us. But I think it's important to note that he is the head of the administration and finance for the community, and so he's one of the upper figures. He's one of the most important people in the office, and he's one of the big decision makers. The only person above him in the Rapa Nui community, at least as far as my understanding goes, is the president, who was not there that day due to personal reasons, but this was the second man, Claudio. So Claudio comes back to the office, he brings us a set of gifts, he brings us a little tiny moai sculpture, he brings us an agenda, he tells us, look, I am so sorry for what happened. There's a very delicate situation where basically the Rapa Nui community, the island of Easter Island, is part of Chile, but they've just recently been given a independence from Chile to manage their own parks. He tried to explain to us that things were very delicate. He explained that there were some incidences that have happened in the past that has led to Chile putting pressure, trying to take back control. He told us, please do not post this video. You would be, hurting the community. You would be hurting me. And at this point, we felt terrible. We were like, we don't want one person's actions to hurt the whole community, because this is one person. And that's one thing I want to remind you guys too, is like, this is my experience. There are so many incredible people on the island. I will never be coming back to Easter Island, that is for sure. But I'm not going to tell you how to make your decisions. I may have just been extremely unlucky. I know there's other people that have experienced other things from our DMs we've received, but I don't know the facts on those stories, and so I can't get into them. All I know is the facts on my story and the people that I met. And so let me continue a little bit more. Understanding a little bit of the complexity of the situation, we honestly felt a bit of compassion, and we did not want to hurt the community. That was never our goal. In our meeting, Claudio could not have been more clear. He literally word for word said, if anyone on the island bothers you, gives you a bad look, looks at you for too long, you let me know. He was basically telling us he had our backs. Nothing was going to go wrong. But there was one little catch. He told us, do not go back to Tongariki, because Felipe's friends will be there and they'll be waiting for you. So it goes to show that that is the state in which the parks are handled right now. There's really a bit of a wild, wild west feel to them. There's no discipline, there's no control over the employees, and this is the state in which they operate. Basically, an employee can do whatever they want, and there's no real way to get it back to them. Claudio even told us that there's likely no way that that man, Felipe, could be fired because he's protected. He's part of the indigenous group and he is a protected employee. How do you have accountability in that sort of situation? If this was the line, Felipe had sprinted across that line 10 kilometers ago.
Don't into the line, and you into the line.
There was no punishment headed his way. So Claudio said, how can I make it up to you? No matter what it is, nothing is too big, please ask me. So Katy and I basically said, look, Claudio, there's only one thing we really want from this situation, and that's an apology from Felipe. That is the only thing we really care about. And so we talked to him about this. We said, we expect to have a call from Felipe tomorrow, anytime in the morning. We're going to be waiting by the phone. Please, no excuses. We want this apology. We made it very clear that nothing quite mattered other than that. We also then asked for the refund of our park ticket because we had spent about $70 to $100 for an experience that was just absolutely tarnished. Claudio kindly agreed. He said, no problem, I will have that sorted for you. We'll have a guide ready for you tomorrow morning. Let me WhatsApp that to you later. And as we were on our way out, Claudio insisted, please guys, anything else you want, anything that can make this experience better for you, let me know. At this point, we had communication with Claudio through WhatsApp. Later that evening, we sent him a message thanking him for his time and the kindness that he had showed us. We sent him a message reminding him that we wanted an apology more than anything else and that we were expecting that call. And we also asked for a scuba diving experience and there was one other thing. There was a dance performance in the local town. One thing that was made very clear to Claudio was these experiences were not going to stop us from posting this video, but they would at least help us enjoy our experience a little bit more. We never threatened that if we didn't get these things, we would post the video. It was not like that. The experiences like the scuba diving, the show, the guide, these were things that we just asked for because he insisted, how can I make your experience better here? The thing we wanted was an apology. On our last day, we had the guide to show us around, all arranged by the administration, and luckily we had that guide because every park we entered, we would get dirty looks by the employees. We were still using a ticket that said attacker of the Guardians, and this is a very small island. At this point, everybody knew the story, at least Felipe's side of the story. I swear we got some like low-key death stares. It was very uncomfortable. At this point, it was the end of our last day. It had been a full 24 to 36 hours after the incident, and we still had not received a call that was supposed to have come in early that morning. We still had not heard from Felipe with that big apology that was so duly owed. So we messaged Claudio asking him what was going on. He responded he was out of country. Basically, that is one of the final messages we would then hear from him. There would be no follow-up. There would be a ton of messages sent on our side, which can all be seen here for full transparency. All messages have been included because at the end of the day, the truth wins. You better remember that. The truth will always prevail. After being ignored by Claudio, the last message we sent was one when we were leaving the island. It stated this: Claudio, we asked for one thing, an apology, and you did not respect that. We expressed that we were so disappointed leaving the island and we felt like there was a lack of responsibility over the situation. Wished them all the best, and that was the last message we ever sent to him. Now, you would think that Claudio just stayed as a character that was unhelpful, maybe a little two-faced, somebody that is nice to you in person, but as soon as you leave, does absolutely nothing. But unfortunately, he didn't decide just to be an absent presence in the situation. He also decided to take the aggressor's position, and he has now since released a video, this video right here.
Mi nombre es 𝗏𝗏𝗕𝗙𝗢𝗢𝗔𝗓, soy el jefe de Administración y Finanzas de la comunidad indígena 𝗏𝗏𝗕𝗏𝗏.
Now, most of you guys don't speak Spanish, including myself. I'm going to have all these videos completely on their full form unlisted and linked in a separate video. You can go view those if you would like, if you speak Spanish. But let me summarize. Basically, our seemingly good friend Claudio had changed his song. He went from the guy that was trying anything he could in his power to help us out, to then changing his story to being one of extortion. He claims in that video that we threatened to release the raw encounter with Felipe if we didn't receive the scuba diving, if we didn't receive the dancing experience in the town. Things that we really didn't care about, but things that we figured we may as well ask for if he's so insistent that we ask for something. He has completely manipulated the situation to try and make us look bad. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't end there either. That's just Claudio's involvement. Now, Claudio was not the only one to make an official statement, to film a video. Also, our friend Felipe decided to do the same.
Y esto yo se lo estoy hablando como Felipe Agurto-Tuki. Yo actué como trabajador 𝗏𝗏𝗕𝗏𝗏.
Again, these are all viewable down below in the unlisted video if you want to see them in their entirety, but the summary of what was said. He claims that 𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗏 didn't cross the line. In fact, she climbed the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. The 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is the extremely large stone on which the moai sit. This is a sacred stone, a place not to be touched, and a very obvious place that a tourist should never go. Yet, he claims that 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 had the audacity to climb on top of the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 to take photos. He claims that he kindly approached me first during the situation where 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 was standing on the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, and he says that he told me to ask her to get down. How does that even make sense? He then states that 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 refused to get down from the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, that she continued to take photos, and then when he asked to see the camera to get the photos, it was saying empty, that the memory card had been taken out. In addition to that, why wouldn't you just stack on a few more lies, right, Felipe? So he also claims that we called him an idiot from the very start, when in fact, that was the complete opposite. Seems to be a pattern here. Now, luckily, I filmed everything, and so this is where some of these lies are just laughable. He claims that he was holding the gate shut because he wanted to give us a chance to give him the tickets so that he could either let us have the chance to stay in the park or to give him the ticket and just put a simple write-up on the ticket, which at this point,
𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, leave!
Mira lo que estás haciendo. Mira lo que estás haciendo. Mira lo que estás haciendo.
Get out of my
Mira lo
face.
que estás haciendo.
Me vas a golpear la cara, me vas a golpear la cara.
Don't touch me.
Necesito ver tu ticket.
Do you really think that that's a believable story, that he had offered us the opportunity to continue to stay in the park, or to have a kind little note added to our tickets? I don't think that's a believable story. Now, in addition to that, he claims that when he pulled me off of the wall, there was no intention of harm. Okay, I give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you didn't intend to harm me, but you have to recognize there was definitely a large chance that somebody could be gravely hurt. He claims the video was altered and edited just to show our side of the story. Now, there's no edits in the video, so that really confuses me how that's even an argument, but each to their own. Now, this one right here is where it got really personal for me. I find it almost comical, but at the same time, the consequences that it could have led to are just so great that this is where it got really personal for me. Felipe has claimed that during our struggle at the gate, where I was trying to open the gate, he was trying to close the gate, I assaulted him. So he claims that I hit him with the camera that I was filming with, which was an iPhone. At the time it was an iPhone 10. iPhone 10 probably weighs about, I don't know, 500 grams. He claims I hit him with the iPhone, which again, I'm filming with, so take a look at the footage. I'm not quite sure where that would have happened, but somewhere at the gate situation, he claims I hit him, and I just struck that direct blowing hit that severed his bicep artery in his right arm. That's his claim. That is what he says the doctors have a report of. If there's a doctor's report out there, then two options. Either it's a false report by a doctor who's gonna get themselves in some deep water, or secondly, he either had an injury before that point, and this was an opportunity for him to take advantage of the situation. There's also a third option, which I think is more likely. There's no real doctor report. Now, if I had hit our friend Felipe in the bicep to the point where an artery was severed, two things would have happened. You would have seen this in the footage. There would be a massive shake. I mean, unless I'm the most powerful man in the world, which I'm not far from it, it would take more than a little subtle touch. It would take a full, clock. It would take a full wind-up. Do you see that anywhere in the video footage? Because I certainly don't. Secondly to that, if his artery was severed, how then was he so calm after we jumped the gate? How then was he not showing any signs of pain or agony? I mean, a severed bicep artery, I'm pretty sure you're not going to be strolling around like everything is just fine and dandy. Thirdly, I mean, why would I turn my back to somebody after smacking them? If I hit somebody, I better be damn sure that I'm ready to fight this conflict out to the end. I'm not gonna expose myself in the most obvious way possible, like turning my back to this person. So none of this story makes sense. It goes to show his thought process and his willingness to dive deeper and deeper into a lie. And like I said, this video is not targeting the community, but let me tell you how the community got involved in his lie. This right here is an official statement that was released on Instagram and on Facebook by a group by the name of, translated in English, it's the indigenous community 𝗦𝗨𝗕𝗦𝗢𝗎. This is the organization that represents the community of the Rapa Nui people. This is where things are a little bit sad because my goal with this video was not to bring anyone else into this. The purpose of this video was to remind you guys that you need to put your ego aside and you can never allow yourself to come up to the level of the aggressor. You always need to film. This isn't just about travel, this is everything in general in life. It's one thing that I think my parents taught me well, it's that fighting is never the answer. Using your brain is. Unfortunately, Felipe didn't have this option at his disposal, so he's tried out different routes and they're not working so well for him. Just to go through real quickly what the PDF says, the official statement from the community. We have a claim that they're going to be taking legal action for defamation of the Rapa Nui community, which if you haven't already watched 𝗏𝗘's video, the video starts off by saying this is not about the community, this is not about Easter Island, this is not about Chile, this is about one person. So I don't really understand where the grounds come from because from the very start it wasn't about the community, but now they're dragging the community into this because they're making slanderous claims about me, about 𝗏𝗏𝗏 from their own community pages. So as much as I would love to say this video today is just about Felipe, unfortunately it's become a bit of a bigger picture. They claim that 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗦𝗢𝗏 climbed the Ahu in their official statement. They claimed that we refused to come back to the other side of the barrier and to delete the illegal photos. They claim we hid the memory card. They claim we physically and verbally assaulted the guardian with terms like idiot and stupid. They claim he was hit with the camera, which I suppose would have been an iPhone. They claim he went to 𝗦𝗨𝗕𝗦𝗧𝗜𝗢𝗏 hospital and they have a certificate of the hospital records showing physical harm. They claim we made requests out of extortion, asking for the scuba, the dance. Again, this is how Claudio took what was a seemingly nice action and tried to use it against us. They claim that 𝗦𝗕𝗢𝗕𝗢𝗏 altered the video to alter the truth in the video she posted on YouTube. There's a claim of defamation against the whole community, which again could not be further from the truth when you watch the video that 𝗦𝗕𝗢𝗕𝗢𝗏 created. And I love this one because this one's just like a little kick at the end. We created unnecessary conflict and we have all the negative behaviors a tourist shouldn't have. And then at the end there's an Instagram signature again by the president of the administration, 𝗦𝗨𝗕𝗦𝗖𝗥𝗓𝗦𝗧𝗜𝗢𝗏, who again is the president of the entire administration, the head honcho, the big decision maker. Seems like he's signing off on all of this. Just to remind you guys, Easter Island is part of Chile. It is incredibly detached. Culturally, they're very different. But at the end of the day, whether they like it or not, Easter Island is still part of Chile. And so when we posted these stories showing our incident on social media, 𝗦𝗕𝗢𝗕𝗦𝗖𝗥𝗓𝗦𝗢𝗕 actually got contacted by one of the tourism authorities, one of the senators that oversees the tourism of Chile, and they actually set up a phone call. And we thought to ourselves, great, like, this is going to be something that makes a difference, because if they're not willing to deal with it internally, then hopefully there can be some outside pressure to at the very least ensure that certain incidences like this don't happen for future guests. And so 𝗦𝗕𝗢𝗕𝗢𝗏 got on that call and it seemed like things were going to take place. They told 𝗦𝗕𝗢𝗕𝗢𝗕 they were going to open a case and that they were going to keep us posted. That happened in late August and it is now October 12th. So since that period of time, we have followed up with them via WhatsApp chats a few times now, saying, hey guys, any update on the case, any update on anything? And with that, they basically just gave these vague statements of, we're working on it, things are being worked on, blah, blah, blah. 𝗦𝗕𝗢𝗕𝗢𝗏 sent a message probably about a month ago saying, look guys, we're going to be making a video about this incident. Nothing can be changed. We're making this video because it needs to be shared. But we want to at the very least have your point of view included in the video instead of you just standing there silently, having no ability to communicate your side. We wanted to share what they were going to do about it. We wanted to share how Chile stands up for its tourists. But unfortunately, there has been no response. If there's even a case here, they would have at least kept us updated on things that were going on. It just seems so clear. This is something they're trying to sweep under the rug. And you can even see all the WhatsApp chats here that 𝗦𝗕𝗢𝗕𝗢𝗏 had with the tourism authorities. There's nothing happening. It seems very apparent that they're just hoping we forget about the whole situation and go away. One thing that we're very fortunate is that we have a platform that allows us to have a voice. But how many people before us had these incidences and had nowhere to post it other than an angry Twitter post or Facebook post to their close friends and family? When we post things, sometimes millions and millions of people will see these things. And so this is not a very good light for Chile to be in. We wanted to give them a chance. We understand there's no perfect country in the world and there will always be those people, there will always be those Felipes around the world that will try to drag you down. But we were hoping that the higher authorities would step in to try and make things a little better. Unfortunately, we can't say that's the case here. Sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches and there's not much more you can do other than share the message. I wanna say though, even though this is my worst travel experience I've ever had, even though I'm incredibly disappointed with so many levels of the tourism authorities, and quite frankly, a little stressed of an overhanging possibility of a legal battle, I will say that I would probably still come back to Chile. I'm not telling you what to do with your travel decisions. I will never do that for you. All I can do is share my experiences. And unfortunately, my experiences were incredibly terrible because of a handful of people. Chile is a beautiful country with so much to offer, so much to see, and it's definitely somewhere that when I feel like the timing is right, I'll consider going back. Will I go back to Easter Island? That's a definite no. Not your average Lost LeBlanc video, but it is a reality of travel. Things don't always go to plan. In fact, sometimes travel can bring on some of the most intensely negative experiences as well, and this was most certainly one of them. So, guys, please leave the video a big thumbs up if you enjoy. That doesn't seem like an appropriate way to end this video. Anyways, I'm gonna end the video there. Let's get lost again in the next one.